Ooh, it's bright out here. What are you doing up there? Hello, ladies. And Murph. And ducks. They're waiting on their morning feed, so we actually ran out of chicken feed yesterday, which was poor planning on our part, but brought some home, so they're all good. They just got extra scratch yesterday afternoon, which I guess for a human would be like getting to eat ice cream for breakfast. I don't have a problem with that. Actually, Amy from A Farmer's Kind of Life, it's a tradition they actually do in her family. Every first day of school, they eat ice cream for breakfast. Go check on the pigs. Pig, 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 pig. Yes, I know it's getting cold at night, so you're sleeping in the shelter again. How's everyone doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All pigs are accounted for. The nights up here have been getting a lot colder, and the pigs have kind of responded by becoming a little bit more lethargic. They're starting to move into, I guess you'd call it fall mode. I don't really know. It's been interesting to see in the mornings, though, how they're moving a little bit slower. Kind of like people, I guess. Fall time around here, we definitely move a little bit slower. All right, let's get into the bread and butter of this video, or I guess you could say the meat and potatoes. That was a terrible joke. So today's the day that we are going to get the meat birds out on pasture. And we're doing them in a John Suscovich style tractor. You can find the plans in this book, Stress-Free Chicken Tractor Plans. In my opinion, we've looked at a few different chicken tractor plans from other people and folks out there, and they're great. A lot of them are super cheap compared to this. This is definitely not one of the cheaper ones out there. Chicken tractor is about where it's going to be, so let's get these little guys out onto grass, and then I think what I'll do is I'll put their food in there so that they'll just kind of migrate into it. We'll see what happens. So what are the changes that I made to this thing from John's book? Well, for one, I mean, and probably the biggest, most glaring change that I made was I didn't just staple the hardware cloth and chicken wire to the outside. He calls for using a pneumatic stapler. And I know some people have used nails that have little like plastic discs around them to hold the wire in a little bit better. And that's cool. That's, you know, I've seen that done before and I'm sure it works. I've also seen people put electric around them as well. We're running the poultry netting that you see around here from Premier One. Rather than use, you know, a pneumatic stapler, nailer or stapler or whatever, which I don't have, and then go out and buy one, I just went out and I bought some strapping. This right here is just standard 1x3 strapping. I went and looked and saw if anybody had pressure treated, and they didn't, so I couldn't get it. So I had to use regular. But to run this all the way around and essentially just screw it in over top of the hardware cloth and chicken wire, it added $7 to the price of this thing, and not a lot of weight at all. It's pretty lightweight, it's just pine. So my advice here would be, if you are looking at going out and spending money on an electric or pneumatic powered nail gun or staple gun that you can use to kind of sink those staples in really good here, or if you're looking at spending money on some special type of nail with a plastic head on it that'll hold chicken wire in and things like that, don't do it. It's not worth it. You can just go out and get the strapping from any lumber yard or hardware store, basically, even to carry it. And like I said, 8-foot lengths of this were like $1.50 a piece, so I added 7. So it did barely added any to the cost of the project. You're spending $300 on this thing overall. You might as well already just spend that little bit extra and get an even beefier solution to keep this wired to the side of the, what's this thing called? A chicken tractor. It's really sunny, and I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to try and show it. Can I wave my hand and see? Maybe. Okay. So another modification that I made, and I made this just now, was I cut a bow out of the sill plate right here at the bottom of the door. And the reason I did that is I noticed that the chickens were having some trouble getting in and out. They're meat birds. They're pretty ungainly. If you were doing this with regular laying hens, it wouldn't be an issue. But because they're meat birds and they're so fat and heavy and can't really fly very well, they're having a hard time getting over it. So I just took a jigsaw and cut a U out right there. Still provides some support for the door though. The next part is not really a modification per se, but I'm gonna cut in some footage showing close-ups of how I constructed the door. In the end, I'm not gonna give you measurements. I still want people to go out and buy John's book because it is such a great resource for this. But I am gonna show you how I put the door together. That way, even if the measurements are off, because I could have totally been wrong. I was super tired when I put the door together. If you cut the pieces to the measurements in the book, all that happens is, or at least on my end, is something came out a little bit long, so I was able to go back and just hack it off and make it fit. To make the door, I just laid these top and side pieces flat on a concrete floor in the garage, and then I took these corner braces and I just put them right on top, glued and screwed them at 45 degrees there, and that's plenty tough to hold this door together. It's not a super heavy barn door. It doesn't need a ton of support. It just needs to kind of close and hold that chicken wire, or in my case, hardware cloth, which I just stapled to the back here. I didn't do anything special. It is going to close up flat against the sill plates that you see right here, so you don't want to add any bulk or material there. In the past, I believe the measurements for this piece right here in the book were off. I have a second edition of the book, and the measurements were right on this. I didn't run into any issues. So if you have a first copy of the book, if you purchased it used or something like that, just be aware that this measurement's going to be off. If you Google it, you can find out what it should be. But in the second edition of the book, I didn't have any issues around the bottom as far as measurements go. The measurements and everything were pretty good. I did squeeze those two vertical supports a little bit closer together. I did it by accident. I cut it in the wrong spot on the first side, and then I was like, whatever, I'll just take the measurements. It's not a critical measurement overall, so you know, you can get away with doing it that way. I didn't have any issues with bending the conduit, but I've bent conduit before. I was using a 3/4 inch conduit bender on this 1/2 inch conduit, so I had to account for that a little bit. But for me, it was not necessarily a super tough task. I bent the first one, I saw where I needed to make some adjustments, and then the rest of the 3 went smoothly. That's pretty much it. Those are the only changes that I made to this thing. John's design is pretty solid all around. It's a great chicken tractor for a relatively decent price. And if you're looking to build a chicken tractor, I would go this route. I mean, for $300, it's a little bit more expensive than some of the other models on the market, but it provides the best basis of being able to get in there, walk inside of it, change food, change water. It's really just, in my eyes, a great design. The book may be a little bit clunky at times. John's a farmer, not necessarily a writer. You know, what he's done as far as bringing pastured poultry to the masses, I can't fault the guy for it at all. Sometimes, yeah, the illustrations in the book are a little bit tough to follow. There's not as many close-ups. There's tons of pictures of these things out on the internet, though, and that's what I ended up doing. If I needed to see something that needed a little bit of clarification for me, I just went to the internet, punched in Suscovich chicken tractor and Google image search, and, you know, stuff came up that I was able to kind of use and look at. With that, I'm gonna put the tarp on this thing so that the birds have some shade. I'm gonna get the old chicken tractor out, which is over there. I might not take it out. I might just lean it up against here and put a tarp over it so they have another little shady section to kind of run under in case a hawk comes or something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna get that going now. I almost forgot to mention, we pulled the giveaway winner for the Smartro SC92 weather station. Matthew Alot, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But you're the winner, so get a hold of us. Instagram, Facebook, find us somehow. I'll leave a comment on your comment in the last video where we were doing the giveaway, and we'll get in touch and we'll figure out how to get that to you. So congratulations. That's going to be it for the video this week. As always, thanks for watching, everybody, and make sure you have a great day. Bye.